You'll have to let me know if the music is too loud. On that note, good morning, and welcome to 7.4 Patch Notes reading and discussion stream with me, Chaiji, but you can just call me Kai. Probably a little bit too loud, isn't it? So, on this stream, I'll try my best to go over the big things that are happening with patch 7.4. Either maybe you're already in the swing of what happens on, even patch days, or maybe you're not. And I'll try my best to cover what's coming either way. This also includes explaining what's happening with the jobs. As some of you may very likely have already seen, there's some crazy stuff happening. Now, with that said, hey Boobamet, hey Talcal, hey Aradel, hey Eyes Up, hey Send Help, hey Shaq, hey Ears, hey Beep Boop, hey Lost Woods, hey Humble, hey IQ, hey Sfera, hey Naomi, hey Liam, hey Lucifer, hey Sleepy Vlad, hey Chalmers, and Wolf News, Jong Rob, Clove, Mia, Ocni, and Firefly. Hope you're all doing very well. A lot of people right out the gate. So, I feel like we should probably start with the elephant in the room, which is obviously this morning the job changes were added. And that's why we're doing the patch reading today and not earlier, because we wanted the full version, right? Also, hey Secret and Psionic, hope you're doing well. Right. So, let's just cut right to the chase on that one. So, I'll try to explain each thing. If I don't, quite know what it is about, then I'll probably say that. But for the most part, I have a pretty solid idea what's going to happen, or what these things mean. So, first of all, Dark Knight's Living Shadow just got slightly moderation. This doesn't actually change what it's gonna do, because your Living Shadow has like a set sequence of actions it's gonna do. These extra 2 seconds are just there to help him have enough time to get it done. Because if his target runs away, he'll chase it, and that will delay some actions. And if his timer runs out too early, he will not finish. So these 2 seconds help with that. That's pretty much it. That's it. I'll get to Gunbreaker in a second. I'm doing the shorter changes first, because this will be a doozy. Ninja just got some AoE buffs. It's really weird. Seki, who's a regular on the Discord server, who is a Ninja main, is very frustrated by that, because Ninja doesn't need more burst. Ninja needs more filler. Gokamekyaku is the Caetsu buffed version of Katon. So you get one of these per minute. One on AoE. For a single target, you use your Surrounder instead. Viper, basically got more AoE damage moved from their AoE to their AoE their reawaken AoE to their filler AoE, which is whatever. I will say that we're reaching a breaking point where all of these incidental AoE attacks are getting close to the breaking point where... Actually, let me just look one up. So, Ouroboros does 1150 potency to the main target. Only a fifth of that in AoE, which means, let me put it like this. The average potency of your filler AoE now as Viper is 220. And Ouroboros is a slower GCD, which means that Ouroboros AoE component, like, relative to it, is like only mildly stronger. Yeah, getting like, you know, a big smacker on the main target is great and all, but basically the whole Reawaken combo is kind of mid for AoE damage at this point. It still works, but I was like, Hiseki. And as it is, we'll be doing well. Also, that is a good point. Considering Gokamekyaku is exclusively used with Caetsu, it is barely stronger than Tenryundo now. Really weird. But it's slightly moved around burst on Viper, or rather AoE on Viper. Bard got some straight potency buffs, just 100 there, 100 there, 100 there. Sure. Machinist's tools got an additional 40 potency buff. Okay. I don't think this is what they need, but okay. And Dancer got some potency buffs, a little here and a little there. That's probably fine. I feel like Machinist needs a bit more than this, but then we're almost there. We're almost there. Sage and Scholar got the Dia treatment again. 5 more potency on the dot. Sure. And Astrologian's Collective Unconscious now, as I read this, Wheel of Fortune, just to clarify for everyone, Wheel of Fortune is the healing over time effect on Collective Unconscious. Collective Unconscious, when used now, goes boom and applies damage reduction for 10 seconds to everyone in like a 30-arm radius. But it maintaining the barrier does not actually maintain the damage reduction anymore. It's the thing you're maintaining is actually a healing over time effect, which is pretty funny. You have Creation Doses 3 is the single target one, Lost Woods. Jose Jules and J-Cax and Galston and Taldemar. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, indeed. Thank you, J-Cax. And hey, Caster. Hope you're doing well. Is this where the machinists can sign up for the free drinks? Well, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, Astrologian's Collective Unconscious now is a heal over time effect on a 1-minute cooldown that also happens to apply damage reduction effect for 10 seconds. And you can maintain this barrier, quote unquote, to maintain the healing over time effect. The reason that this is changed is because White Mage got some changes. I mean, we kind of could have this isn't too surprising, to be perfectly honest, is it? But I said this was a solution. Like, this would solve a particular weakness that White Mage has. They buffed Glare again. They adjusted Misery to fit, because Misery has to be 4 times Glare's potency, otherwise it's a damage loss in a weird way. Plenary Indulgence now, in addition to what it already did, reduces damage taken by 10% for 10 seconds. Which means that Collective Unconscious and Plenary Indulgence are now equal. I basically stated this exact suggestion as a way to help White Mage get back closer in capacity and ability to Astrologian. I basically suggested this. Confession has been changed to give the damage reduction effect, Clove. I'll say, Poco, hope you're doing well. Thought Temperance was more parallel to Collective Unconscious. No, Clove. Temperance's damage reduction is a parallel to the fact that Astrologian has Sunsign, which they can use after Neutral Sect, and Sunsign reduces damage taken. So they are 2-minute cooldowns. Collective Unconscious is a 1-minute cooldown. That's why Astrologian had 1 more. Now they're even. One more thing about White Mage is that when you enter a duty or respawn, White Mage spawns with, like, basically maxed out lilies. Just boom, instantly 3 lilies and a blood lily ready to go, which is going to be really strange. I'm guessing that you'll probably open with something like either, like you'll probably pre-pull Glare, maybe Dot, but then a Flautus Misery, and then 1 or 2 Raptures, and then another Rapture, like like just barely into rate buff, so you can get another Misery in. And I don't know what you're doing after that. Might be different for prog, but it's going to be really weird. I think I've talked about this before, and I've said if you give white mages their resources from the start, it's going to get really weird, because what's happening for white mage now is that they're essentially choking on resources. Like, you start behind. Which is really awkward. Yeah, exactly. Return of Cursed Openers, Krakenmo. That is exactly right. Next, we have Red Mage. So, this one is a little confusing. So, stick with me here. Embolden is their rate buff. Embolden is their rate buff. The way that it works is that it increased, before it increased your own magic damage done by 5% while increasing everyone else's all damage by 5%. Now it increases your own damage by 10%, specifically magic damage still. But at the same time, they have removed Manafication's effect that increases your damage done. Before, Manification, when used, made it so that your next 6 GZDs did 5% more damage. It doesn't do that anymore. So they moved that damage to Embolden. And for those 6 GZDs, this is like an incredibly minuscule nerf, because 5 and 5% is more than just 10% because of multiplicative stacking. But you're going to get more than 6 GZDs inside Embolden, so overall this is a buff. Second, and this is a little bit confusing, I think, in the past, enhanced Modification reduced the cooldown of Modification. Like, it started on 2 minutes and then got reduced to 110 seconds at some point in your leveling experience. Now they've just made it default. You just start with Modification on 110 seconds. That's it. Then, instead of giving the 6 stacks that makes you do more damage, Modification just gives you the magic swordplay thing that it has done since the start of Dawntrail. And while you're using your melee combos with magic swordplay, your single target combo is now ranged. Which is really strange. I imagine a lot of long-time red mages are going to have a hard time getting used to this. I hope that they did something with the animation on this. It wouldn't surprise me if they haven't, but it would be nice. It would be funny if they made your rapier, like, extend for it. I don't think that's gonna happen, but that would be funny. Additionally, because there are no 6 modification stacks to consume anymore, Modification just gives you Prefulgence just like that now, where before you had to, like, spend the 6 stacks first. Thank you, Ardell. I have it here. Thank you. I can explain that also, yeah. Often the dev explanations feel a little bit like, okay, and... but, that is exactly right, Enmity. It is very important to note that this means that your melee combo is only ranged for the specific melee combo that Modification gives you, which essentially solves the problem of if Red Mage has ranged duties during the 2-minute burst. That's the only time where, like, that's where this solves that. There could be some, like, opti situations where it's like you use this so you have a ranged melee combo for, like, a high mobility section, but it's probably coming at a loss. Then, to help a little bit extra, they also buffed Vice of Thorns a bit. That's it. If you're wondering why they might need this, let me just put it like this. If you were playing Red Mage on M7S, Brute Abominator, your ranged responsibilities would absolutely cause problems for your ability to do damage. Absolutely. So this basically solves that. In our raid team, our Red Mage Cat had much less trouble with this because our Red Mage was the fake melee in our group composition. Also, hello to anyone that came in the middle. Got a lot of people coming in, so I'm going to have to. I'm not gonna finish this if I keep pausing to greet everyone. But I hope you're all doing very well. Let's see. Did I forget anything? So far, nope. However, now we're getting to the elephant in the room, which is Gunbreaker. They have like a trumpet for a weapon, I guess. So, Gunbreaker got the mega rework treatment this time around. So, there's a few things. So I'm going to try to take it from the top. First, Bloodfest is now a 1-minute cooldown instead of a 2-minute cooldown. It has become Imperator. I'm just saying, if you start seeing jokes about Gunbreaker being basically Paladin, then you'll understand eventually. Bloodfest now also essentially doubles your cartridge maximum for a time. They don't actually specify for how long, I don't think. Let me see here. Does it say it in the tooltip in here? Yes, for 30 seconds. But otherwise, your cartridge maximum is the same as before. Essentially, what it does is it makes space for the cartridges it produces. That's what it does. Which also means you can now have 6 cartridges in your burst. Just saying, I am not sure how you're gonna use all that. At least not at level 100. Next, and the reason is actually Gnashing Fang has 2 charges now. This is important because Gnashing Fang's cooldown is, or was, 30 seconds, which means you will have 2 charges of Gnashing Fang for every No Mercy if you want to. Thank you, Exilis. And Missy says, I don't think you can fit 2 Gnashing Fangs in your burst. I will get to that. I will get to that. Now, it's an option. If you want to, you can do 2 whole Gnashing Fang combos in your No Mercy if you want to. The whole Gnashing Fang combo has been nerfed. And Burst Strike too, to compensate for this. Sonic Break has had its dot concentrated more, and it also does slightly more damage. Double Down has been nerfed, but its cartridge cost has been set back up to 2, as it used to be. And finally, Lionheart combo, or Rain, has been nerfed. Now, the reason why I say it's an option is because this is important. The Gnashing Fang combo has 2 charges at level 60. The Gnashing Fang combo comes out the box with 2 charges. And while at level 100, you might not actually have time to do 2 full ones in your burst. At level 99, however, you do. At level 60, you do. And Bloodfest being available every minute means that you have a lot more cartridges to work with. What this means, just to go a little bit from start to finish, is at level 60, I'll get to level 100 shortly. At level 60, this essentially means that, well, your opener is going to be mega weird because you don't have the cartridges to get anything done. However, once your opener is done, what you'll probably do is burst starts, full Gnashing Fang combo, Sonic Break, full Gnashing Fang combo, and then like a GZD. That GZD will probably be whatever your filler GZD is available at the moment, because at level 60 you only have 2 cartridges. So like that's it. That's actually a bit like a more explosive opener than it used to be. At level 70, the main thing that gets added is a continuation. And then at level 80, you would have you would also have Bloodfest, which would mean that now, first of all, your opener will come out swinging with at least 2 cartridges, which means you can do both of your full Gnashing Fang combos, and, well, that's it. But for every burst after that, if you only have 8 GZDs, depending on your skill speed, you would probably do 2 full Gnashing Fang combos, Sonic Break, and 1 burst strike. If you have a faster GZD, 2 burst strikes. The mitigation potency? What do you mean, Exilis? Then at level 90, now Double Down is in the mix, which basically just replaces that, like, 1 of those burst strikes at the end. And also now you have 3 or 6 cartridges, so, like, I mean, you essentially have the resources to do whatever you want. The 2 full Gnashing Fang combos and Double Down is going to cost you 4. If you also want to burst strike once, that's 5. You still have 1 to spare. It's crazy. And then at level 100, Gnashing Fangs having 2 charges gets really strange. Like, genuinely, that's where it becomes weird. If you have, 0 skill speed Gunbreaker, if you're 0 skill speed Gunbreaker, then the 8 GZDs you'll fit in your burst every time will be a full Gnashing Fang combo, a full Lionheart combo, Sonic Break and Double Down in some order. Optimally, probably Sonic Break is last. But if you have 9 GZDs of time, that's when it gets weird. Because the best 9th GZD you can include in your burst is Wicked Talon. Real record scratch moment there. And you might then be going, wait, what? How do you do that? So this means that in the optimal circumstances, if you're a skill speed, like a 9 GZD skill speed Gunbreaker, then you will have to start your burst 2 GZDs early. As in, 2 GZDs before No Mercy comes up, you do Gnashing Fang, Wicked Talon, Late Weave No Mercy, and then Wicked Talon, and then you do the 8 GSDs like normal. And that's where it gets weird. But if you're not a skill speed gunbreaker, then you straight up don't have space for anything involving a second Gnashing Fang combo. So at that point, that extra charge actually just gives you a huge amount of flexibility, since you can now put that Gnashing Fang wherever you want. Did Squeenix just make Gunbreaker harder by making Fang be 2 charges? Hard to say, but let me put it like this. If Yoshi P or someone up in there goes, wait, are they putting 2 Gnashing Fang combos in the No Mercy now? What? We didn't plan for that. I wouldn't be surprised. Because this is what happens. I said ages ago, like back in Endwalker, on my first video about the 2-minute burst, I talked about the situation that some jobs have like some awkwardness with like, oh, but what if if a cooldown drifts slightly, and the easiest solution to that is just put 2 charges on it. But if you do that, what do the players do? They go, thank you, and just puts the second charge in the 2-minute burst as well. Which means, no. Simple example that I gave in that video is, if you put 2 charges on Dragoon's jump, then it doesn't mean that jump has a 30-second cooldown. Or a 30-second charge time and, like, flexibility and leeway. No. It means that jump has a 60-second cooldown. And you have to use it twice. That's what it means. And that's basically what happens on Gnashing Fang. The only reason why it doesn't fully come into that is because you need some skill speed to even be able to do that. And my joke about Paladin before is, well, let's put it like this. Paladin has a, like, when they use no mercy, fight or flight, they usually combine it with Bloodfist, I mean Imperator, which gives them like a 3-step combo called Reign of, I mean Confiture, which is actually a 4-step combo, but it's usually opened with, you know, a particular attack that leads into a 3-step combo, and that particular attack is basically Double Down. And then, like, once you've gone through that bit with Sonic Break and Double Down and Reign of Beasts, then you go into just using your best filler GCDs. You know, Atonement, Gnashing Fang, you get where I'm going with this. Exactly, Reign of Confiture. I'm just saying, the differences are very hard to see. It's really funny, because first they made Paladin way more like Gunbreaker, and now they're making Gunbreaker more like Paladin. But genuinely, if in the next patch they go, you know what, screw it, when you use Solid Barrel, you get Gnashing Fang ready, or something. If they do that, then they have basically made Atonement. And that is correct, Haldemar. These changes doubles the amount of Bloodfests you get. Granted, Double Down costs 2 again, so each Bloodfest only gives you 2 more cartridges to work with per minute, not 3. Or per 2 minutes, sorry. Because, well, actually only 1, because Double Down is going to take 2 out of those 2 minutes. But Lionheart existing and being about part of that every minute means that eats up a whole 1-2-3 combo. And while Gnashing Fang doesn't do that much, like immediately the 2 charges at the start means that you get 1 additional Gnashing Fang in the whole fight. It's alright. But yeah, point being, you're getting more lion hearts and slightly more cartridges over the course of a fight from other sources than your filler combo. Which is good. I will also say, like, if we ignore the insane chaos that this change can cause, I think this is like, it's a nice flexibility change. And yet makes the burst no longer reliant on boss presence? I guess so, yeah. Fire creeps. I don't think you read the change correctly. So I'm just going to explain this really, really precisely so that we're all on the same page. In regards to the Gunbreaker's gauge, it's 2 when you unlock the job. Did my music end? It did. Oh, good thing I just started again. It starts at 2. When you unlock Bloodfest and you use it, it goes up to 4 for 30 seconds. Then, when you get the trait that says you can now hold 3 cartridges at a time instead of 2, Bloodfest is upgraded to give 3, like it always did, and it still doubles your max cartridges, so it goes from 4 to 6 in that regard. I think we've gone over all of the job changes then. But yeah, that's the real kicker is Gunbreaker's a lot more, well, let me put it like this. Before level 100, Gunbreaker's filler is going to be, like, outside of No Mercy is going to be really boring. Because you're not going to be using Gnashing Fang outside of No Mercy below level 100. Like, you're straight up not. Then you hit level 100 and now you can use some of them outside burst. But if you have skill speed, then the additional charge is used just before your burst. So you still have like 45 seconds? No. 35 seconds or so. Where you're just going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then, you know, burst strike or something. Which is but it's more flexible. I don't think this is bad necessarily, but it definitely takes the winds out of the sails of some people that enjoyed exactly the way the job was before. In regards to the Sonic Break bit, this just means that you're less, like, it's less of a problem. If you're like, you're less likely to like lose a lot of damage to the boss leaving while your dot is going or something. Does the Gunbreaker changes warrant a new guide? Possibly. I was thinking the same thing. Because it does change some things. But once I have time to get to it, I will almost certainly at least have like a patch note in the pinned comment on my Gunbreaker guide explaining what you need to know. So look out for that. It'll probably be there by tomorrow at some point, hopefully. Now, to the rest of the patch notes. There's quite a lot. Also, really funny. Oh, is it? There's new MSQ. It starts in Solution 9. That's why, if you've seen the thumbnail and the schedule, is next to Alphino. There's a new normal raid. It starts in Solution 9. What? 4 new bosses. Let's all look forward to the new song that has been teased. You can teleport. You don't need to go to the Wachumeki docks to go to the place with Occult Crest and everything. You can just go directly from the Ether Shards now. Alpha and Omega moves will be seen in more places. It's fun to look for. There's new stuff in the treasure hunt, so maps. They don't say what, but there's changes, so there's new stuff. Probably some new glam. There's more stuff in the workshop. Slightly more stuff in the workshop. There's new housing furniture. Lots of new housing furniture. Obviously, there's new orchestrion rolls because there's new music in the game. Castus' variant dungeon will be coming in a smaller patch later. Yeah, I believe they said 7.45, so it's not now. You'll probably have a few months. A couple months. Like 2 or so. 1 or 2. New seeds for Flowerpot. By the way, just random note. These specific ones can be bought at vendors in the housing districts. Are the phantom weapons getting upgrades with this patch? Not today. Not today. But like, I would say around a month after the Savage raid comes out is where I'm guessing that they come. That is what this is, Lord Saver. We're going over what the things are, but there's quite a lot. So, I'm not gonna read the whole thing in minute detail, because then we don't have time to discuss anything. It should be less than a month after. Well, one doesn't imply the other, Lucifer. It could absolutely be that they're like, well, Savage is coming out there, so 1 month later. Oh, that's what you meant, Lord Saver. Well, I don't know what to tell you. It actually says Final Fantasy XIV in the stream title. You too. The thing is, Lucifer, that there is other things than just dump content on the game. Like, part of the reason why they tend to, like, space out these things is because they're like, well, people need to have time to enjoy this thing. And if Savage comes out later, then players haven't had time to enjoy that. So it kind of makes sense either way. I could see them delaying 741. I could also see them not do that. That's what I'm saying. Also, hello to everyone that's coming in the in the middle of the stream as well. Hope you all doing well. Let's continue. Something relevant, significant that happened to the Gold Saucer, especially for those that have hung out in the Gold Saucer a bunch, is that they have added a new Air Force One. Is here a picture? But more importantly, they have changed the gate schedule. What might stand out to anyone who has been doing gates for the Mock-Tome event is that if you check this schedule, it is no longer possible for Leap of Faith to chain 3 times or more in a row. Because there is no Leap of Faith in the middle time. However, you could chain Air Force One. So enjoy that. Hey, Freezy. And everyone else. And yeah, there's a little bit of red mage buff. There's also new character voices for Doma and Ma Young. And there are new things For Chloe, I'm just saying. I'm guessing this is a silver certificate. This better be a silver certificate item. Because this would never be bought for a gold certificate, I don't think. Wondrous Tales have gotten updated, essentially. I believe there's also a new mount added to Faux Hollow, which is this one. And the Unreal has been changed from Wreath of Snakes to Tsukuyomi. When is the patch live? According to the schedule, in about an hour. Like an hour and 5 minutes. It might open earlier, but about an hour from now. There's also the classic duty recorder thing. Shrug. And there's a new hairstyle that look like this. And a new hairstyle that look like this. And there's more hats for the two races that have been in the game for quite a few years. A new emote. I'm pretty confident that this emote will be for hitting series level 5 in PvP. Series rank 5. You'll have to do like 4 daily frontlines. Also, for emotes, there will now be an icon that look like this on emotes that can be used while you're holding an umbrella. I'm pretty sure that's what they mean by holding a torch. And they've changed some icons and some names for some cheering emotes. Be an elf in the trench then? Yeah, I guess we'll have to get the emote. And then there were all the job changes that we went over earlier. There's going to be a new dungeon. Big spoilers, guys. As is tradition, new major patch means 1 new dungeon, 1 new trial. Do the umbrellas and the torch have the same animation? I sort of assumed they did, but you may have a point that probably the torch can't be held like this. But if they don't, then I guess the icon is for just the torch. But yeah, new dungeon, new trial. The new dungeon is called Mistwake. The new trial is this. A face only a mother could love. He's very happy to see you. He's very angry to see you. And right, sorry, I just had to process this. I read it wrong. Zelenia EX4 now has a higher chance of dropping wings. And it is now possible to purchase the wings if you don't already have them. With the RNG compensation. We knew this was going to happen. A lot of people probably already grinded 99 totems to be ready to buy. And then there's the new raid, as we talked about. 4 new fights. The Savage version is coming January 6th. And as usual, these are the prices of the items there. My recommendation, if you're going to use any of this gear for any amount of optimization at all, or you have any interest in getting like a specific type of stats from the gear, go and unlock the normal raid, but then go to the vendor where you exchange these, which is, in the like little shop area in Solution 9, and check what the stats are on the items before you go in, so you can roll correctly. Just consider that for your own sake. And the Savage version is coming January 6th, as I said. And there are 4 bosses. What? And everything is as it always is in regards to Savage. Additionally, Echo EX5 and the normal version now has Echo. So if you wipe after fighting for 3 minutes, you get a buff. And there's no weekly restriction on the second Alliance raid anymore. And Pilgrim's Traverse got a weird change. If your inventory is full when you're getting the rewards from leaving Pilgrim's Traverse, then they'll give you like a box to claim them from. Like this rewards box. So you can go and clean your inventory first. Instead of it just going, gone. Which, I mean, it's not useless, but it's like, it's nice. I'm mainly thinking, why would you go in with a full inventory? It's not smart. And another thing for the Deep Dungeoneers is, if you get disconnected while you're in a run, for instance a solo run, they will keep your instance going for up to 10 minutes. However, there will be, I don't know if this is the full 10 minutes, or it's like, you know how like when you get disconnected, your character sticks around for a bit. I don't know if that's like, if in this case it sticks around for the full 10 minutes. But anyway, if you die by any means while you're disconnected, like you lose anyways. But if you don't, they will keep your instance alive, so you're not completely screwed if you get disconnected. So that's, like, it's not much, but let's just say that before, if you got disconnected, it was just instantly over. So, like, this is technically an upgrade. Like, this is better than nothing. Hey, Rance, we have talked about jobs. If you want, you can rewind the stream. I led with the job stuff because I assumed that's what a lot of people wanted to know. I'll just put a pinned comment. We have that. There are new jobs for phantom jobs in the Occult Crescent. If you have done field operations before, Eureka or Boja, doesn't matter, then you will know that there's like items get added that give you like extra stats. Like in Eureka, there's like the quick ring or whatever it's called, speed ring. They're adding something like that. There's already gear there, right? So like now there's more. And they are rare, like the speed ring. And you know, there's other rewards there as well. For variant dungeons, and just, you know, keep like eyes on the prize, guys. The next variant dungeon is not coming now. It's 7.45. It's not now. But the existing variant dungeons, you can now, as any role, pick the variant Eagle Eye shot, which does, I don't know what this means. I don't know how much 150 potency is going to be, because like this potency is a shrug. I don't know. They didn't even put a cooldown or anything. That I don't know how good this is. But you have that option. So if you're a tank and you're like, well, I don't need cure and I don't need raise because I'm going in solo, you can you can choose this and Spirit Dart, for instance. And they've also adjusted some naming in this. For tombstones, some people have been worried about what's happening to tombstones. Heliometry will be made a discontinued tombstone. You can go to an NPC in Modona, I believe it usually is, and exchange them for mathematics at a 4-to-1 exchange rate. So if you have 2,000, you can get 500. They have no other purpose. And in 8.0, presumably, they will be gone. So you don't have any reason to hold on to them for like sentimental value or something. You cannot collect them. They are going to get deleted. So exchange whatever you have. Mathematics will be the new farmable tombstone. And mnemonics, which is the next weekly tombstone, will replace mathematics as a weekly tombstone. Poetics will stay as it is. Anything that cost heliometry will now cost mathematics instead. Some items may have had their prices reduced, but most items will probably cost the same. Imagine if Eagle Eye is strong enough to replace a Jobs filler. Oh no. Expert Roulette is of course cycling out Underkeep, replacing it with a new one. Underkeep is getting added to the level 1, like the level cap dungeons. There's a new trial. The quote-unquote new alliance raid goes in alliance raid roulette. I'm sure some people said, what? Wasn't it there already? I guess not. Mentor roulette gets added all of these new duties. And the item required to do mentor roulette is increased by 20 item levels. Now we'll only have Mazel Terminal, right? And all of their tombstones have been adjusted to match. No real change here, they're just changing the names. The same for PvP. The same for hunt marks. And the same for deep dungeons and treasure maps and everything else. And Stone Sky Sea has gotten some new duties you can practice on. And Zemail Darkhold and Aurum Vale have been changed and can now be done with duty support. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but based on what you can see here, all 3 bosses in Zemail Darkhold has been changed. Things in the dungeon have been changed. The same also applies to Aurum Vale. I specifically recall a picture showing this that showed the final boss room for Aurum Vale with all of the yellow liquid in the arena absent. So there's a very good chance that all of that is just not in the dungeon anymore. I don't know what else, but that seems to be a guarantee. No more gold bile, indeed. Additionally, when you are doing content with duty support or the trust system, they're giving you like some sort of safety measure similar to Echo, but there is a difference. When you, like basically in duty support or trust, if you die, you immediately wipe. It doesn't matter that there's a healer alive that could rescue, it's just boom, done. The hero died, so it's over. However, when you wipe in this way, they give you a stack of a buff that makes it that when you die, you instead just get back up. And each time you wipe, you get an additional stack of this. So at peak power, you could die 5 times on a boss and still win. So it's some sort of level 2 like way to help you if you need it. And as I understand, what they mean by this is that some dungeons start you off with a bit. No worries, Saga. We started with all the job changes. I think the white mage stuff is a little strange because you're getting kind of choked on resources of white mage, like you're getting too much. And then there's something really weird here. I'm honestly not sure what they mean by this, The icon of the cover and cover status effects used by allied and enemy NPCs during certain duties and instant battles have been changed. This means cover's icon, when used by NPCs, looks like this. I'm gonna be real with you. I thought about this. The only duty where I recall an NPC using this is there is a Shadowbringer's duty where the Exarch uses cover. I think that's it. Next up, some PvP changes. Halen, I believe that's the option that healers have to use, like as a role action that they can use to heal someone else with their own resource if they want. And essentially, actions that break guard now only break guard. They don't both break. If they break guard, they do that instead of increasing damage taken for the target, instead of doing both. And then we have a little bit of a tooltip mix-up. Plunge now heals for less when it activates, but also this is supposed to match with Biolysis, and Biolysis equally got it mixed up. This is supposed to say Biolytic, and this is Soul Survivor's Dark Knight one. But basically they nerfed healing reduction. They nerfed Salted Earth, which is pretty stacked, to be honest. Gunbreaker got a small limit break buff. Dragoon got some boosts to their Gaishkagu. Ninja got some boosts to their Yosho and Gokamekyaku. Samurai got some defensive boosts to their Okinamikiri. Viper's limit break does a bit more damage. Dancer's Honing Dance does a little bit more damage. Pictomancer's healing reduction has been nerfed as well. And apparently Star Prism and Tempera Grasa can hit through walls, I believe is what this means. White Mage's Aqua Veil has a shorter cooldown, and Seraph Strike reduces damage taken by more. That's pretty much it. There's a bunch of things from previous series that have been added to the Trophy Crystals shops. So if there's something you missed, maybe check it out. And I believe, I'm going to guess that this, what we're seeing here is the series level 25 mount. Okay, so level 25 for this, so it can look like you're getting speared. That's complicated, Akutosaka, and really comes down to the fight. But they, like, that's what I said when I suggested this kind of change for Plenary Indulgence, is either you'll have to use it for the healing or the damage reduction, because a lot of the time, those two things don't go quite hand in hand as well as you'd think. It's a skill issue. There's something about sprint in a specific Crystalline Conflict map. And Commendation Crystals, I'm pretty sure, is for landing a high rank in Crystalline Conflict. Apparently this is a rerun of an old, otherwise exclusive gear set. So hey, if you were jealous you couldn't have this, maybe you can have this soon. And new PvP, Crystalline Conflict ranked season. Take note of which data center you have to physically be on to play. And they've adjusted a bit what the tier rewards are. They've also added a new frontline. The cliff notes of this is Walker Chiete here is is un salaka danjik nadam or nadam. It's just slightly different. It's still, you know, you fight for a point, you get it. The difference is that you stand on nodes to collect them. Like uncontested to collect them. Instead of just, you know, having to channel a thing for a few seconds. You have to stand on a node. More similar to taking the base points in Secure. I think it's called Secure. And there's also weather events. There's like a snow one that puts obstructions on the map, and there's like an Aurora one that makes limit breaks go faster. Also a really funny detail that I never realized before. I'm pretty sure this applies to all front lines, but the long story short is that your limit break feels slower when your team is in first place. And it feels faster when you're in last place. Only that. They also explain how Battle High works, roughly. They don't actually explain how much. It's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. And the frontline rotation has changed, quote-unquote, changed. As far as I can understand here, they're making it so that the new frontline map is randomly possible to happen on any day. Since does this feel super underwhelming for such a huge weight? I don't know what to tell you, Synth Popper. This is actually a normal amount of content for an even patch of Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know what to tell you. Like this is approximately what they gave us in 7.2 as well. Nexto says LB always worked that way in front. Yeah, I didn't say that it was new. What I was saying is I didn't know that, and it's not very well documented that it does that. In game, it doesn't really say that, as far as I know. You're just supposed to know that. Just like how jobs have baked in damage reduction and stuff in frontline that they don't have in Crystalline Conflict. So, like I'm just saying, I'm just highlighting it for anyone that don't know. There's new items. What? New crafting recipes. This is some examples of the new gear sets. Very pink weapons. Very nice. This is from the crafting sets, by the way. The sets made by crafters. They've changed the names of some emotes, I think. Emote items, I should say. And they've added an additional die channel to a whole bunch of items. They've moved the Quetzali gear from the first raid tier to Kupo nuts instead of tomestones. And they have actually made it so that when you're exchanging crafted gear for tokens to buy augmented gear, that the NPC will no longer accept the high quality gear as turn in for the normal quality gear menu, so you can't goof that up anymore. Thankfully. Such a weird thing. And then there's the big glamour one. You no longer need to be the appropriate level or job to glam something and use it. However, you do need to have the correct appropriate weapon. You cannot glam an axe to look like a sword, but you can glam a hat to look like a hat, or glasses. Exactly, Taldemar. I mean, that's still something. Removing the skill expression from crafted gear augmentation. No! This skillful display of clicking the correct menu. You can also make outfits out of incomplete gear sets, and looking from this, there are a lot more outfits you can make. So make sure to check your glamour dress if there's some space to be saved. They also added a repair all button to the self-repair options and such, or repair options. So you don't have to flip through every menu and click repair all anymore. You just click repair everything. Quite neat. And they finally removed the confirmation prompt when you're extracting materia. For a little bit of a history lesson, back in early Shadowbringers and before, extract wasn't extract, it was convert. Which meant that you actually turned the item into one materia, which is why there was a confirmation button in the first place. They've also made it so that trial synthesis, you can choose the difficulty. Like, you can choose to not be able to get lucky or unlucky. You can choose how much quality the item will have when you start. So you can actually practice the setting that you're going to be dealing with. Which is really nice. They also allow you to just have quick synthesis only make normal quality items. Niche, but some people will find it helpful, I'm sure. I believe they've also made the end lag on miners and botanists and perhaps fishers, like finishing a node, go faster. That's something. And they've added Ethernet shards to the Mooncrafting Gathering Land. And they've added a chain bonus. This matters because a bit of a meta grinding strategy, I believe, on the moon could be, I don't know how many did it, but if you knew you could complete a specific mission reliably, then a strategy was to just grab a mission and then just abandon it to reshuffle the missions you were offered. This means that you actually get punished for that, because you lose your chain if you do that. And this is after increasing the gathering lag, and that's pretty ironic. I didn't know that. But they undid that, I guess. There's a little bit of extra details on this. But roughly speaking, it's a little bit of a slightly more clear information when you're going on the moon. Tony, relax. It's only in the 2-minute burst. Does the increased reward also apply to the XP, or is it just research? It only applies to level A. To class A or higher missions. Can you do class A missions as level below 100? I don't think you can. So I guess the XP is moot. Also another mount. I'm guessing this one is from Treasure Maps? Rog? This one is from the new Extreme. We have some new minions. Hyper-realistic cat and dog. A new hat. And more graphical changes. Solution 9, Living Memory, and the new areas will have multiple instances. So if you need if you needed something in Living Memory that could help with a few extra instances, take note of that. Meanwhile, the things that had multiple instances in 735 will no longer have it. Some duties have been added to the tanking achievements. There are new things retainers can look for. And then we have the strategy board. What's a strategy board? The strategy board is the raid planner that we have been promised ages ago. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Essentially, it's an image. You can, as I understand, you can broadcast this image to your party. So you can like use it as like paint. May help you in your mentor streams. It could actually, if you can like set it up live like that, it could actually be handy. But it's not like you open it and it shows you stuff from the fight. It's a blank canvas. It's your job to fill in the blanks. You're supposed to figure out what the fight does. It doesn't actually tell you anything. It's your job to figure it out. And it has ways to share these. And just take note, these text-based codes you can just put in a notepad document, which matters because you can only have 50 images. I believe. This isn't quite the thing, because this is 50 things in the image. I'm pretty sure they specifically said you can have 50 images, which is separate from this. This is not that. This is not that. You can have 50 boards. I believe. Yes. 50 boards. But because you can export them to a code, you can just save that somewhere in a paste bin or a notepad document or whatever you want, and then just delete it and then just load it later, and you should be fine. So, you know, just big brain time. You don't need to hold them all. And then we have the command panel, essentially a new menu with 4 tabs where like, you can just press a button and it opens, and you can have all these buttons. So you may have seen how like I have this toolbox in a corner of my UI where I just have a bunch of job buttons and stuff. Something like this would probably do better for that. And it's this button. And then you have some customization options. And there's new colors for your UI if you want. There are new portraits. There are new stickers for your G poses. Hey. And oh boy. We're starting to reach the end, guys. Fixes. Is there anything that stands out? Let me see here. Oh, some weird changes in some of these things. What's that about Chiro B? Chiron, which I believe is this one, is blue. So they of course changed it to Chiron blue. Because there's 2 Chirons. Oh, this is more interesting. Known issues. The new willful status is bugged on the final boss and dead ends. Okay. Wow. Thank you so much for the big sub, Rust. Thank you so much. And good morning to you. This change is quite interesting. Or not change, this bug. What this means is on the new trial, if you wipe to a specific mechanic, then some job gauges may not reset correctly. That's gonna be really awkward. Hey guys, can we reset the instance? My job gauge didn't reset correctly. Can we go and wipe again, guys? You can solve it by just walling immediately. And you just have to hope on the normal version that the wall actually is lethal. Oh, this one might be relevant for PlayStation 4 players. An issue on the final boss of the raid tier, wherein frame rate drops under certain conditions. They summon like 300 fire pillars, and as it turns out, the certain conditions are the PlayStation is having a hard time. There's some jank with the new Phantom Dancer. And there are some collision detection jank in the new Air Force One. I mean, Liat said, an issue when challenging Hell on Rails and Hell on Rails Extreme. When total party incapacitation caused by the boss attack Runaway Train. So either Runaway Train is only an Extreme and the one writing the note forgot, or it's both. Unknown issues next in line for hot fixes? I don't know. But they are known. I guess that's something. You like, you report a bug like we know. Are you gonna fix it? We don't know. Oh no, guys. An issue when riding a specific mount added in patch 7.4 while playing as a female Highlander here or female Viera, wherein certain gear graphics are displayed incorrectly. Okay. An issue with the duty recorder wherein the countdown is not displayed during playback. Okay. An issue with Leflita in Sinus Adorum wherein the NPC's name is displayed in Japanese. Lucifer says, I feel like servers should be up already. I mean, they're promised in 28 minutes. That does, like, and then they've given you the opportunity to preload the patch. But that's pretty much it. But that's pretty much it. I want to reiterate, just real quick to end on, just a quick revisit to the job changes, if I can find them again. Is White Mage got basically White Mage won. They got basically a thing that was like, for the whole last raid tier, both the raid tiers pretty much, it was like, White Mage needs this one specific thing. Defensively, they need this thing to be on equal playing field with Astrology, and they got that. So, like, that's a win. Red Mage now can use one melee combo at range, specifically the one that goes in the 2-minute burst. Sometimes that's not enough because optimization sometimes dictates that you do 2 melee combos in the 2-minute burst, and sometimes when you're optimizing, 3. Not as bad as it's not as crazy as it sounds, Arcades, but that's a damage output thing, not a healing output thing. So it's not quite the same. The thing that White Mage needed addressed the most was the defensive similarity. Because then, like, okay, sure, there's more of a damage problem, but that's like, you know, potencies and raid buffs, and that's a little harder to fix. But there's a reason why Astrologian got no buffs and White Mage got some buffs there. Then Machinist got some more buffs. I feel like it needs a little bit more. Bard got some buffs and Dancer got some buffs. And Viper's AoE got moved around a bit. It's getting to a point where it's almost like your filler AoE is almost better for AoE than your burst, which is strange. And just to be clear, that's not that you don't change it. It doesn't change anything for AoE rotation, but we're reaching a point where if this says 90% or 85% next time, then we may actually hit a point where it's like, maybe you should just hold your gauge for a single target. And Ninja got a little bit of a burst AoE buff. And Dark Knight's Living Shadow is less likely to miss an attack due to timing out early. Gunbreaker's potency nerfs are basically to compensate for the fact that they get 2 Lionheart combos per 2 minutes. Not just 1, 2. And they have more flexibility on Gnashing Fang, which is nice. But that's... also, yeah, Sonic Break is a little bit more concentrated and got a very slight buff. But the big thing on Gunbreaker is double the Bloodfests. But that is, yes, Bloodfest is down to 60 seconds, guys. And it also gives you space. It also gives you space to hold them. Do these Gunbreaker changes turn Gunbreaker into Paladin? Well, I actually did make that joke, yes. Check this out, guys. For your 1 minute burst, you open by using Fight or Flight and Imperator. Then you use Confiteor and Goring Blade, and then you have your Blades combo, and then once you've done that, you can do your Atonement combo. You know, use your best filler GCD. Whatever you have. The flexibility of sub 100 Gunbreaker having to hold both Gnashing Fangs. That is also really funny, yeah. Below level 100, your minute burst is going to have 2 whole Gnashing Fang combos. So your filler is going to look really weird. Like, really weird. Because... is there still anything in Gunbreaker that makes the 2-minute burst different for Gunbreaker? No. At level 100, your 1 minute burst is the same every time for Gunbreaker now. Before level 100, it's also the same every time. Before you get Bloodfist, it's going to get really awkward. That's what it is. But that's pretty much it. More flexibility. I have a feeling I was going to tank on Paladin for the MSQ and the normal raids and stuff. But with the Gunbreaker changes, I might do it on Gunbreaker to, like, experience this. Lionheart is still 2 minutes, yes? No! Bloodfest gives you Lionheart. And Bloodfest is a 1 minute cooldown. So Lionheart is every minute now. I mean, Webern, it's going to close the gap, but we don't know if that's enough. Exactly, Yumi. Exactly. Yummy, I guess. That's why. It's because every minute you get Lionheart. It's pretty strong. Pretty cracked. Where do I find these patch notes? I mean, they should be on the official site, or you can probably find it by writing patch 7.4 into Google. Patch 7.4, Final Fantasy 14. So what about when you don't have Lionheart, just nerf below level 100? A little bit, although it's nerfed by a bit, but then also every Gnashing Fang below level 100 goes in the No Mercy hole. And a 20% boost to Gnashing Fang is will actually make the the Gnashing Fang that used to be out of No Mercy will now be in it, which means that it will go up to 396 potency, I think. well, in this example, 504, 508 inside. It's going to move things around a bit. You might be a little weaker below level 100, but as far as I know, Gunbreaker wasn't like in a bad spot below level 100. And the convenience of this might be worth it. But, I mean, let's just say that to me, this was a shocking change. And I agree on that, Cat. As I was saying, it's part jest, like part memes, but also part like, why? Me saying, okay, so Bloodfist is Imperator now. Ross says, I love the charge change. See, that's the thing, is they could have done... They could possibly have done just this. They might have been able... Like, if they... Isn't that funny? This feels a little bit familiar. That's correct, Haggai. That's also what I said. This feels familiar. Because this is kind of like... This is a little bit like with the Black Mage changes as well. When 7.2 hit and a lot of people were like, couldn't they have done just the cast time changes? Or alternatively, just the timer changes? But then they did both. And it felt like a little too much. This time, it's... Couldn't they have done just the charges change? They could have done the charges change and this. And it might have been like, that's fine. But this on top feels maybe a bit extreme. Oh, by the way, just a reminder, guys, double down is up. It is no longer single down. It's back to 2. DP says, I don't think the Fang change is really related to the rest of the changes. I don't know. Oh! That's a really good question, Cat. That's an excellent question. Cat says, will Gnashing Fang no longer get skill speed reduction? See, the thing is, Hakurai, it didn't really matter. The reason why they're making it 6 is because before 7.4, it was sometimes a problem that Gunbreaker would go into their burst right after having to use burst strike to not overcap, so they'd enter with 2. Which made it a little bit weird. Especially when double down could cost 1 or 2. Like, it made it a little jank, a little strange, and they tried to fix it. But you know what? Doing this solves that problem entirely. Now, the thing is, I think the important question is, some Gunbreakers are probably looking at this like, why? It was an interesting thing to play around. Why? Grim Raven says it is a G-City, it should still use skill speed. Okay, let me explain what Cat said. Stick with me now, guys. A weapon skill, unless stating otherwise, will have its G-City reduced by skill speed. However, note that when Machinist is below the level where Drill has 2 charges, Drill's cooldown scales with skill speed. When you hit the level where Drill has 2 charges, it no longer is reduced by skill speed. Its cooldown is a fixed 20 seconds, or charge time is a fixed 20 seconds, unrelated to your skill speed. Reaper Soul Slice is the same. Which is funny, because it was the same, I should say. Because before Dawntrail, it said that it just didn't scale with skill speed. Like, the cooldown didn't scale with skill speed. But for all of Endwalker, as long as you only had one charge, like before you got the trait that makes it 2 charges, it actually did reduce cooldown if you had skill speed. And then you had 2 charges and then it doesn't. Which means Gnashing Fang now having 2 charges, if they follow this formula, it means that Gnashing Fang's cooldown no longer scales with skill speed. They don't specify this, but I mean, I don't think Drill does either. Exactly, Yummy. You got it. Speed reduces cast time and recast time. Charge time is not that. So it might lead to that. That this effect is gone. To be fair, a fight, like if you have like a GCD of like 2.47 or even 2.4 on Gunbreaker, with 2 charges, the fight would need to go on for a really long time before this would drift the Gnashing Fangs cooldown to a point where it's actually a problem. So it's something to keep an eye on, but that's really it. That is pretty much it. Removes a bit of friction within the job. Pretty much. The thing, this change is addressing the fact that the slightest bit of downtime at just the wrong moment screws over Gunbreaker completely. And while the other tanks have something like that, it's not even remotely to the degree that Gunbreaker has to deal with. Like, all tanks have like a 30... Actually, does Dark Knight? Most tanks have a 30-second cooldown they want to use every 30 seconds, but it's an OGCD. Some have 2. Oh, hey, Paladin. But specifically this GCD is going to really be awkward for your burst at all, if it drifted at all, so they've made that one nicer. Is Cavern Spit 30 seconds? No, it is 1 minute. And that's basically what this is trying to address. It's also worth noting that this can also be really handy during, like, trash packs. Like, a particular awkward situation you could be in is finishing a pack with Gnashing Fang, and now Gnashing Fang is janked up relative to No Mercy for the boss fight. But because you have 2, it's probably fine. Living Shadow will become 60 seconds in the next patch. You know what? If they do that, it wouldn't surprise me. Imagine. In Shadowbringers, Living Shadow cost resources to use. Also an Endwalk, I believe. I don't remember the song stopping so suddenly before. It really scared me for a moment. I thought my computer froze. Whew. Doesn't Esteem cost blood gauge? Not since Dawntrail. Not since Dawntrail. 7.5 TBN has no cooldown. You know, the fact TBN has a cost could kind of make that work. Can't wait for them to make one of the tanks into a 30-second tank. Yeah. Next patch, No Mercy has a 30-second cooldown. Alien says, where can I see this patch? It should be on the main website, or just Google 7.4 Final Fantasy XIV patch notes, and it should show up. Do we actually have enough space to send the link? We do. I didn't because I assume it's such a huge link that I wasn't sure if it could fit in one message. Prime, the long story short is Bloodfest 1 minute cooldown. It doubles your cartridge space during it, a little bit like Monk's Brotherhood does. Gnashing Fang has 2 charges. Double Down is 2 cartridges now. It's more flexible at max level, but you don't have a 2-minute burst anymore. It's all 1-minute burst. Below level 100, it's gonna get weird. What do the Astro changes mean? That's not a dumb question. So... when you use Collective Unconscious, 2 things happen. Your character T-poses on them haters. Actually, 3 things happen. First, that. Second, you do like a burst of energy that applies 10% damage reduction to all party members within 30 yalms. It also applies a healing effect, a healing over time effect, to players within 8 yalms, which is the dome itself. The 30 yalm section has been buffed from 5-second duration to 10-second duration. However, and this is the important confusing bit, is before 7.4, the dome maintained both the damage reduction and the healing over time effect. Now, the dome only maintains the healing effect, which is called Wheel of Fortune. Which means what the change does is now Collective Unconscious immediately applies damage reduction for 10 seconds instead of 5 in a huge AoE. And then if players are nearby, it applies a healing over time effect. And if you maintain the dome, you maintain the healing over time effect. It does not maintain the damage reduction anymore. That one is just 10 seconds. And the reason for this is to mirror the fact that that's what White Mage got. Plenary Indulgence, for those unaware, level 70 ability, 1 minute cooldown. What it does, or what it did, is your GZD heals, AoE GZD heals, do an additional 200 cure potency on top. Now it also reduces damage taken by 10% for 10 seconds. So basically, Plenary Indulgence, also known as Collective Unconscious. Exactly, Bokaj. So it's basically like, they essentially made Plenary Indulgence and Collective Unconscious like sorta like, I have a Sacred Soil. Oh, I have a Karakoli. Totally different abilities. Right, guys? Not quite, Yummy. Not quite. Did Viper get super nerfed? They moved AoE around some more. I believe their burst AoE got nerfed. Tanks can't drag the pack out of my character. I will say, Kraken Mo, that either the Sacred Soil was placed weird, or your tank ran to Narnia to dodge the Sacred Soil with how big they are these days. Filler AoE got better, didn't it? That's correct. Viper's filler AoE got buffed. Does that mean we're getting another ad phase? I will say, at this point, I feel like some of the things, like, the amount of times in the life of Final Fantasy XIV, in the lifespan of Final Fantasy XIV, where players have kind of gone, oh, they're making this change, we probably need it for a thing they're adding in the same patch, only for that to not be the case, makes me think that there is a real possibility that a lot of the changes they're making could be retroactive. Like, I'm just saying, the Red Mage change, for the Red Mages going, why did they add this? We didn't need this. I'm just saying that, based on what I know, most Red Mages that did M7S as a ranged player in the party and not fake melee hated it. This change addresses that problem. So it's possible some of these changes are just responses to problems that were observed in the raid tier we went out of. They don't want to make content that now forces all healers to always have 10% damage reduction. Shrug. Shrug. But yeah, on that note, so I've specifically made sure that the streams are separated so that anyone that didn't want to see MSQ stuff don't have to jump for cover or risk clicking on patch note reading and then end up getting spoiled. So I think we'll be wrapping up this stream, and then I'll be back in a little bit with MSQ stream. So keep an eye out for here. I'll be back very shortly. Alternatively, there will be links to the streams throughout the day on the Discord server and everywhere else. But on that note, thank you all for joining me for this patch note reading situation and discussion. I hope you feel more enlightened on what happened, and I'll see some of you hopefully in a little bit. We will be doing the MSQ first, and I will be doing voices for any characters that are not voiced by the cast. So if you don't want to read it yourself, join me. But in the meantime, remember that you can also, actually, in the meantime, remember you can also support the channel, you know, subscribe, support, whatever you want, like the stream, maybe it'll help people find it when it's a VOD. But I'll be back really soon, so see you later, bye bye.